Hello, everybody. This is Francesca Alexander with socialglobalgrind.com. And today I'm here with Andrea Coulter. And Andrea is a dynamic physician and founder of holistic.healthcare.com. So, welcome, Andrea.
Thank you, Francesco.
Great. So, the reason why I thought was so cool for me to just bring you on and have a blog about you, I thought that everything that you had to offer was so unique, and I haven't seen anything like it. And in particular, I'm really wanting to talk to you about the healing kits that you offer. But before we go with that, I kind of just want to talk a little bit about the anatomy of the craziness of a female deciding to become an entrepreneur and doing so much with that. There's a lot of female entrepreneurs that actually are still in full-time jobs starting out, and there's also seasoned entrepreneurs that really what I think just make their lives and their what they do, and they create this really, I don't know, just like this repetitive sort of lifestyle that's just not in their pleasure, it's not in their desire, and they're always constantly working. I swear to God, I wasn't talking about myself at all. So, with all of that said, if we can kind of just get an idea first of what a dynamic physician is, and then I'm going to ask you a little bit more questions about how you can help that modern day female entrepreneur. So, yes, tell us what a dynamic physician is.
Okay. Well, basically, a dynamic physician is someone who looks at the individual as a whole. So, for myself, I had, been on a health quest for many, many, many years. Probably, I was trying to think of it the other day, probably like close to 30 years I've been doing alternative therapies because conventional medicine just didn't cut it for me. The concept of drugging yourself to get rid of symptoms just was not appealing, and I had tried it and it didn't help. So I've done a lot of different healing modalities over the years, and it wasn't until I'd spent a lot of years with a naturopath working on my physical chemical body and changing regimen, changing my diet, doing detoxes, really understanding, getting rid of aggravating symptoms like, I had a lot of pancreas issues, a lot of diabetes in my family, all kinds of stuff like that. And felt that my health was way better than it had ever been by the time I hit my 20s. But, it's funny how I always felt like there was something missing. Like I still emotionally, mentally didn't feel like vivacious. I didn't feel joy all the time. I just knew something was not quite right. And, so I started looking for other alternatives. And it was then that I discovered homeopathy, for one, because it has the ability to shift mental emotional states as well as physical states. And so I had started working kind of just simplistically with homeopathy on my own. And then when my father passed away of cancer, I realized I really didn't know that much. And so I decided to take a course. And that's when I discovered dynamic medicine, because it actually helps us to understand that, similar to what Louise L. Hay talks about, is that, yes, we have these physical symptoms, and yes, we have to, deal with our physical chemical body as human beings, but we have we have a mind, we have thoughts, we have emotions that all affect this physical body. And actually vice versa. Like if you have a really toxic, overloaded body, of course you're going to feel crappy emotionally and mentally. And so what I do as a dynamic physician is I look at the individual as a whole, and I address the physical chemical side of us, the physicalness of us, and I address the soul spiritual or the mental emotional aspect all at the same time, because it's far more efficient when you can actually solve all these problems at the exact same time than picking at one and then picking at another and then waiting for, that's what kind of I used to do in the old days. But dynamic medicine is fast and is efficient, and it can actually, and we talk about this, is that you can actually speed up your own individual evolution by freeing the life force on all levels at once.
Wow. So that seems like, especially with somebody that's like a beginner of myself, just really looking at all of that, and it's got to be more to it than just getting the kit and or getting, how do I do this? Like, how do I start off with all this? I mean, it seems really cool, but what is somebody like me? How do I start off? Do I, is there like a questionnaire? Am I able to talk to you? Like, what's the next step?
Yeah, generally what I do is I have clients. They can go on and they can onto my website, and you can go in and you can book a free first half hour consultation. And basically, what that does is I send you some question, like a question with that, and it's usually you come to me with your main driving force, because we all have that one thing that kind of we want fixed, whether it's a skin issue or digestive problems or stress or anxiety, or there's always something that just keeps us feeling like we're blocked and we're not living our life fully, right? Depression,
Mm.
I had chronic low grade depression. So there's the one thing that's the one thing you really want to fix. But what's interesting about that is, and that's kind of where we start. We start with that one aspect that is just keeping you from living your life completely, fully free. But it's a step by step process. So you have this, consult with me, and then we determine, am I the right person to work with? Do you really want to, look at all of these issues and really free yourself? And if you do, then we go into working on, a program of some sort. And I have a number of different levels of programs depending on what you need.
I really like that they're customized and that you're able to really talk to you, the creator of everything.
Mm.
And I think the most resonating thing that you were talking about, you kind of tapped onto, and I especially think it's so out there in this space and time. We're really talking about that sense of feeling of overwhelm and stress. And I really do feel like, especially with females, we're very susceptible to that. And what I really like is that because I have a lot of readers that are females and are entrepreneurs, I feel like we're one of the top breeders of like overwhelm and stress.
Mhm.
So I hear that like you even have like a little health kit, and how does that look, and what does it look like, and tell us a little bit more about just getting started with something like that.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you're the kind of I'll show you the kits. So the idea of the kits came to me because a lot of people come in and maybe they don't want to look at all their issues at once. They just want to solve this one little problem right now. And some people are do it themselfers. I know I personally like to kind of try and do something by myself first, right? We all do. Everybody Googles everything. We all see if we can find a solution all by ourselves, especially entrepreneurs, right? We're women that are out there going and getting things done, which is fabulous. But with that also comes a lot of stress because we're trying to do it all. So I've come up with these little kits. So you get dynamic remedies, which is homeopathic remedies that are based on the state. So the remedies that will help you to shift and let go of that stressful anxiety level state. A lot of times women that are overwhelmed, or men, get into a state, and I don't know if you've ever had this, but I know I did a lot, is when you're so overwhelmed that you just don't actually know where to go.
Mm.
You
Hmm.
feel like so stuck and uncertain. And I actually found in my own process this amazing little remedy that can unstick you like that. It's phenomenal. And that's the cool thing about dynamic medicine, is it shifts the state of mind in the blink of an eye with no side effects, because it's homeopathic. There are no side effects. It doesn't affect the physical chemical body. It's all mentally emotional first, right?
Yeah.
So you get this little kit with remedies, but you also get this book. Now it'll be an ebook. It'll come as a PDF. You could print it off and have a cool book like this. But it's a book that it's all the knowledge that I have based on whatever that issue happens to be. I mean, this is my emergency kit booklet because I keep it in office for people to look at. But you'll get a booklet and it'll come in your email. And it's like, I think the stress overwhelmed one is about 40 pages, 42 pages of knowledge. It's anything and everything that you need to be looking at. So regimen, specific supplements that might help, ways to get better sleep if you're not sleeping. I look at, flower essences because they're phenomenal. So I give you all the specific ones. I give you some healing mantras, some meditation suggestions, you name it. Anything natural and holistic is in that book, all specific to whatever that state is. So you can do it yourself.
Oh, that's so awesome. Now you mentioned your office, and so for somebody like me in Los Angeles and you're in London,
Hmm.
can we be, can I be your client, and are you able to just go outside of your area? Is it an international thing? Like, tell us more about, like, even if I was calling from
Sure.
New Zealand, can you take me on as a client?
Absolutely. Yeah, I actually, a few years ago, I had a client from Germany. It was a little tricky with time zones and stuff, but, and I have a number of clients in California. So basically, all we do is a lot of times we phone. I could Skype, but a lot of people still prefer the phone. So I simply do a phone consultation, just like you and I are chatting on Skype. We could do it this way, or we get on the phone and we chat for that hour and discuss what's going on and where you need to go, and I assess and we come up with some solutions. I'll email you some, if say we're working on regimen, I'll email you some documents or some programs, to get you started. We kind of work that way. It's all very much global.
It feels, and it gives the sense of like it's kind of, it's very, has like that therapeutic properties, but it's really, for me, I see it's a little different because it's so actionable. Like, there was no way I was going to go out of therapy and then have something to do or be able to support me in a way that this program would, and including just, the herbal elements and or the homeopathical stuff that you give in the kit. So that is pretty awesome. So when you say that you're giving out like meditations and stuff like that, it feels almost like it can be a therapy sort of session slash with homeopathical sort of solutions.
Hmm. Yeah, to a large degree. I mean, dynamic medicine, because most of our physical ailments, come from the mental emotional stressors, traumatas, if we've had traumatic experiences, or, that block the life force. And that's a big part of dynamic medicine, is understanding what's the cause. Why do you have these symptoms over here? Well, how did you get to this point? Because to be quite honest, you could have been traveling in this direction for 8, 10, 20 years before you ever hit that wall, and your physical symptoms finally say, okay, you can't get up anymore, you need to do something about this, right?
Hmm.
So my job as a dynamic physician is to do a lot of investigative work, to walk with you hand in hand and uncover, why do you have this issue today? How can we fully let it go? I always use the analogy of dandelions. It's like, conventional medicine goes out and sprays the dandelions with toxins in hopes that they go away.
Mm.
Naturopaths will go out and, maybe cut all the heads off them so that you don't see the symptoms. And dynamic medicine goes out and helps you to fully remove the root of that dandelion and remove it so that it's not going to come back. And that's the
Wow.
key.
Wow. I think that is like such the perfect ending, a really good description of what you do, that I think this is the perfect time to end it. But Andrea, thank you so much. On this blog that you're reading, actually, I'm going to put on my blog, socialglobalgrind.com. This will also be featured on holistichealthcare.com. And Andrea is the founder of holistichealthcare.com. And I'm going to go ahead and put all the information below this video. But, feel free to comment if you have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and provide links to Andrea's website, also a link direct to her free consultation, so we can all just collectively get better, feel better, and go out there and do what we want in our greatest passion in the best way that we can. So Andrea, thank you so much, and I really, really appreciate your time today.
Thank you, Francesca. I appreciate it.